Welcome once again. It is Nerve Check. I am here with the looks and the brains. The three of us here together yet again. My God, what happened? I'm not entirely sure, but it's good to see the pair of you. How you doing, John? How you doing, Ray?
Good.
Good.
Ready to do this, yeah.
So it's good to have us all around. We've had a few things happen in between. I know we've had a couple of shows go out. We've had last weekend, there was Nerdhammer. The weekend before that, we had the first tournament up in, thank you, up in Oshawa. I did not win that one. I think it's an absolute crock. Damn it. I need to win all the damn things. But finally, Mike LaHaye has pulled one out. There unfortunately was only the six of us out this time, but such is the case. Next time around, we're hoping to get more people out to that one. But congratulations to Mike, and that's one of many. It better be the amount of times that he beats my ass. So it was good to drive up. Finally went up with Mr. Cooper. Finally pulled him out to yet another bloody tournament. That's the one a year for him so far. We're going to drag him out to a few more as well. But the bigger news is, of course, Mr. Bray. You went to Nerdhammer. I was umming and ahhing about going. I just couldn't. So you went up with our buddy Justin and Mr. Nathan yet again. But you took your evil plan. And how did your evil plan do? And what was your evil plan?
Well, my evil plan was to try out the Forces of Abyss and to use the Berserkers to see if they were indeed as broken as I thought they were going to be with all the upgrades and updates that they got.
And
they're very good. I don't think they're broken because they still have difficulties with speed 10.
Wait, whoa. This is not what we want to hear. Hang on.
I want to hear all broken all the time.
Yeah, we were
breaking, winning units. Come on.
I'm not sure if I like the whole fact of us being wrong, me specifically.
Well, and me. I certainly called them as broken, and they're definitely top tier. I don't know if they're actually broken.
However, for a quick snapshot, keeping in mind that you are a very competent player and you've placed well in tournaments before.
Yes.
Had you played Forces of Abyss before this? Like,
not even once. This list got no play time, no practice time, got nothing. I showed up Friday for the first time ever in my life. I was like, Justin, do you want to have a pregame match? Justin Lingle. And he was playing Order of the Green Lady. And so we had the match. I beat him in about 4 turns. He conceded the game. And I was like, okay, I'm ready for Saturday morning. So
you played one warm-up game with a list that you'd never played and that you wrote
never played with Command Dice
searching for feedback right up until the deadline.
Yep.
Okay, so then we're not going to spoil it, but run us through the tournament. How did it go? With this brand new, untried, untested, barely written,
ask questions,
ink still wet list, claiming that maybe Berserkers are not broken.
So I guess the first thing then is to go through what the list was, because
quick. Yeah, come on.
So quickly, the list was, and I'm just pulling it up here.
Or slowly, make it sensual, whatever you want to do.
I mean, we can add music. We're not going to, but we could add music.
We won't. We won't add music in post, but
so it was pretend. 3 hordes of Abyssal Berserkers, Drunken Ram, Boots of Striding, and Brew of Strength.
Yep.
It was 2 regiments of Lower Abyssals. I did them because I wanted the unit strength 3. And whenever I won, they were critical to me winning. I went with Matsubitsu, which was actually a subpar choice. But more about that later. Berserker Apostate with Pipes of Terror. A Warlock with Bane Chant. Zuzu the Betrayer. Manifestation of Baal, who I only used his special ability once the entire tournament because because somebody forgot about it because he doesn't have the reps in to remember. The one time I used it, it mattered, but I forgot about the other 4 games, and then the formation. So that was my army list. It was 13 drops, 25 unit strength, which put me about average. But my first game was against Ryan Hoffman, from Dojo.
So,
right.
Whoa. Command dice or not?
Command dice, which I never used. So I'd never used command dice.
Right.
And I never used this army.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, because
Masters player. Let's go.
Who wants to practice? So I go in and I'm playing Ryan Hoffman, and his list is all Aloha all day. And what I mean by that is he had 4 hordes of Aloha with Celestial Fury. He had 2 regiments. He had 3 Phoenixes. He had the Phoenix special character and 2 ogres on foot. So like all speed 10.
Yep.
20
all
heal. And the scenario was invade. So we both have 25 unit strength. So it's not even like, here, I have more unit strength than you. No, we have the exact same unit strength. There's no advantages whatsoever.
So you got to kill something.
I have to kill something. I begin pushing up. I have to do the first move because he has more speed.
Threat you. Yeah, he can just sit on you and out-threat you. Yeah.
Yep.
So I had to sacrifice a regiment to do so. And
that's what they're there for.
Pardon?
That's what they're there for.
So I sacrificed a regiment of berserkers, and that began the exchange. The TSN turning point was I had to make the decision as to whether or not I was going to go and engage on his side or come back to clean up mine. I made the decision to pull back, and I gave him a single horde on my horde of Abyssal Berserkers inspired. And my thought was, okay, it's 18 attacks, hits on 3, 12 hits, 10. Oh,
we lost him.
Well, he's twice.
He's a robot.
He did it. Pardon?
You turned into a robot.
He did it pretty often.
He needed 8s to break it. We got you. I think raise a robot again.
Oh, look at him.
Raise a
robot.
Look
at that face.
It's not me this episode. Raise a robot.
Hey, your internet's been pretty good.
Am I back?
Me. Yeah, you're back.
No, you're not back.
Okay. So.
Nope, not back. He's gone again.
He did the attack. I thought he was able to. No?
All right. I'm just going to recap here for Ray. So he gave a free charge. The Aloha needed probably estimate 10 wounds, 8s to break, rolls of combat. What happens? Oh, there he is. Wait, did he kill them?
He got me. Yep.
Ah, he killed the berserkers. Okay.
He killed the berserker horde, but still, I cleaned up my backfield and I was able to get enough across. He timed out at the end of turn 5, beginning of turn 6. I timed out in turn 6. Because we weren't used to command dice.
Right.
So despite 70 minutes on the clock apiece, command dice ate the time. That being said, Brian ended in 10th place. So he was not a slouch. Like this was a field with 44 people.
Ryan Hoffman is very capable.
Probably 20 people who I got an 11-9 tie. So my next match was to go against Keith Baker.
Ray's connection is shit today. Who'd you play?
Keith Baker.
All right.
And we did he played Twilight Kin. He had a traditional
Twilight Kin list, army. Had some stuff in it. Okay.
I made the mistake of allowing the mutants to be in charge range of an Abyssal Berserker horde.
That's silly.
The mutants proceeded to eat the Abyssal Berserker horde.
They will do that, yep.
Yeah, they will.
I made a mistake of allowing the flying unit with 12 attacks to hit the flank of my chariot unit, the Nagari.
That's also silly. Yep, that's silly.
But I survived that one because that one was only 6 wounds.
Oh, lucky. Should have been more, but you're lucky.
No, 24 attacks on 4s and 4s.
So phantom.
Oh, you'd used your 6s?
Well, they
used
were
your
phantom
6. Oh, phantoms. I thought you meant I thought you meant soul flare.
No. Phantoms. So But I survived that one. And after, the only good thing was that when he attacked my squad, I knew I was drawing him in, but I thought he was going to be hindered. I forgot that the mutants had Strider.
Yep.
And then I was able to hit them with another horde of berserkers and some support, so they disappeared.
That's good, at least.
It was not a complete one-sided exchange.
Not an optimal trade, but...
No, but it happened. And then I was able to peg away at his sides and use the berserker mobility and nimbleness to push the flanks in. And in the end, I beat him pretty soundly at about, I think it was like a 19-2 or something like that, because I was able to push through either side and in the end kill both of his hordes of infantry.
Nice.
My third matchup was against John Helbring, also from Dojo. The only other free dwarf player I know, other than Tim. He ran 4 regiments of the spear levy as cheap chaff in front.
Yeah.
He ran the formation behind them, 2 berserker lords, some rangers, and the special character Earth Elemental.
Nice, yeah.
I was able to minimize the number of throwing dogs on each of my units. I was able to get a lucky break on one of the attacks he did on my berserker horde, where he rolled a 3 for nerve. And because of the regeneration, because of the command dice regeneration, I went from 14 wounds down to 5, and within the next 2 turns, I got them back down to 0.
That's nice. That's handy.
What I found is that with the berserker hordes, if you don't kill them, because of fury, they hit you back and they will hurt.
Yep.
So that was one of the things that I was able to take advantage of, and I was able to get a pretty good win on that scenario, which was dominate of all things, actually.
Yeah, that
would actually work out well for you too. Yeah.
Because he wants to park in the middle and you want to come in from the side. So if he doesn't manage his flanks well, you can be a bad day for him. Yeah.
But this was actually one of the ones where I began going up the flanks, changed it, and because he countered my flanks, so I actually pushed all my guys into the center and then went back out.
Interesting.
And that's just the advantage of the Speed 9 Nimble, is you can begin on the flank, come in really quickly in a turn or two. I think turn 2, I had all of my forces in the middle. And then I was able to push out by turn 5 and 6.
Nice.
So
game 4, because we have questions, I'm sure, but let's ask them at the end.
Game 4 was also against Dojo. It was against Julien Lesage. He was playing Undead. That one was either Smoke and Mirrors or Fool's Gold. It was the bluff token one where you reveal everything at the end of turn 3.
Smoke and Mirrors, which is not what the Undead want to see, and most certainly not what the Undead want to see when they're facing an army that's speed. With your type of speed, yeah.
So I put all my counters on the left. He put all his counters on the right. I went up and he put 2 of his hammers on the one side, and I was able to isolate them and kill them. And this is where I was able to use Bael's special ability for the first and only time in the tournament.
Yay!
Because he tried to bait me in with his regiment of zombies. And I was like, well, he wants me to charge his zombies.
Oh, there he goes again.
Wants him to charge some zombies.
I charged the zombies with my horde and with Bael, and then I used the disorder on the horde of whites, so that when they charge through the terrain, they're hindered.
Nice.
Because it changes the map from being 18 attacks, 3s and 2s, to 18 attacks, 4s and 2s.
Yeah.
And with brutal, that means that I should survive.
Yeah.
He still did 11 wounds, but but I survived it somehow.
And you remembered to use the special character special ability
for the first and only time the entire tournament.
That's a win all by itself, my man. All by itself, that's a win.
One time.
There have been tournaments where I've used magic items one time because I forget that I have them. Like
5-point magic items, maybe.
Yeah, well, same.
Well, I'm not 100% sold on Bael. Like, his special ability is really good, but he's the same point cost as a whole horde.
Yeah, but he's also speed 10 and can get in places that the horde can't.
And it does the one thing we had.
Also does lightning. Also, like, it's just different than a horde. I think it's a more utility toolbox. I think his special ability is cute, but you're not going to use it every game. I don't think.
No.
Let's do game 5, and then we can.
Game 5 was against Chet. Anyways, so I crushed his left flank. I ran the entire length of the board, came up and down, and at the end of the game, I actually feel bad for him because I'm looking at the table from his perspective on turn 6 going, I don't know what you're going to do. Because I had Bael and the Seductress in the woods. I had 2 hordes facing his horde of Reverent that was looking at the 2-point token. And he had a regiment of Soul Reavers. And I'm looking at him and I'm going, I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know how you can win this. Like, this isn't me being a dick. This is me being like, you're in a tough spot.
Right.
And like, if you don't take out Bael, all I have to do is run the horde in Bael next to the token. That's 4 unit strength against your 4 unit strength. And then I win 4-2. It's done. And he's like, well, I guess I have to take it. And I'm like, I think you do. So he attacked the Bael. He kills Bael because he had Blood of the Old King and whatever, like, gone.
Sure.
And then he's like, do I turn 90 degrees to face the token and give the flank to the horde of Abyssal Berserkers, but I'm facing the token? Or do I face the horde of Abyssal Berserkers
and not score the token?
No, he's too far away from the token. He's like,
so he's got to pivot his corner to score it. Oh,
so I could still put the 2 hordes on the token, which I did to win the game. But it was like me looking at him going, I don't know what you're going to do on turn 6 because I don't know how you stop me, because I could just run the 2 hordes 18 inches to get the victory.
Yeah,
which is what I did. I did get to use the 6-point reroll everything.
That's fun.
Because I ran the 1 horde in because it was in range to do charge, so it was the easiest thing, and I ran the other one 18 inches to be within 3 to win 6-2. But when I rolled the dice, I got 10 wounds because I needed 4s and 3s. So 4s and 3s on 30 dice, 10 wound, what I was supposed to do. And I was like, no, average isn't good enough to break a horde of Reverence. I'm like, we're going to re-roll this again. I got 20 wounds. I have no idea how I got 20 wounds. So that dice roll was like hot. And then I rolled double 1s to end the game. But
Jesus.
So it was so hot, it was from the abyss itself.
Yes.
Wow, that was a poor joke, but we'll give it to you.
It is me.
But then I got to go into game 5 against Chet, which was the only time I got to play somebody who wasn't from Dojo. Chet was using a John-inspired army with 3 hordes of...
He played his own Kingdoms of Men before him and I met for real at Masters and talked lists, but I was super happy to see the list that he had. He was running a very similar list to what I had, but what was he running this time?
3 hordes of the Flying Beast Cav.
Yeah.
3 generals, 2 baby wizards.
Yep.
1 captain, which
interesting.
Pegasus, which actually made a difference and was annoying.
Yeah, because they can actually do a little bit. Yeah.
2 bolt throwers and 2 spear regiments with ensnare.
Interesting.
And he had more drops than me. He out deployed me, and I was like, I'm gonna win on the right. He's like, I'm gonna win on my right, so we're gonna like do the
swirl.
But I was able to delay him on my left, his right. I did a charge quicker than what he thought I was going to because he moved up his baby wizard, and I was like, screw it. In we go with the regiment to kill his baby wizard. And then I left the Abyssal regiment with giving the flank to the Beast Cav horde. But that if he takes it, then he's in charge range of the Abyssal horde.
Yes.
So all of a sudden hard decisions have to be made. So that combat took about 4 turns for him to clear out that flank. And on the other side, he moved all of his stuff to crush my my left flank. So I isolated his horde and his general to kill it with 2 of my hordes and my flyer. But I screwed up.
Ray.
Oh.
One, this would have been a great time to use Bael's special ability.
Oh, shucks.
You mean the thing that you had used the game before and probably went to yourself, I need to remember that.
Yeah, that would have been really smart. But the second thing is I think I outplayed him on that because I put the Abyssal Regiment up to force the combat. He didn't take the bait, so I actually charged into him. I charged Matsubitsu into the general. I grounded both, ran my hordes up, and the next turn charged, killed, turned. But Matsubitsu, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s with a reroll to wound, failed to ground the general.
Yeah, that's just bad luck.
So the result of that was his captain had flown around the building and I had turned my Abyssal Infantry Regiment to face them. And they had given up the flank to the general. So the general charged, hindered into the Abyssal. And I was like, oh. Fortunately, I did this combat first with the general, so I was able to turn a horde 180 degrees to face where the general was going to go. So he had to sacrifice the captain to buy a turn for the general to win. But even with that, he needed 4s to hit, 2s to wound on 14 attacks.
Yep.
So I figured I might still survive because that's like 6 wounds. I'm 13, 15. He needs to roll 9 once to kill me. Well, he got it. But that was the big roll of the game because that took off the piece that was going to hold that quarter in control. And John, you can tell that your army really likes to play control. Like my army's good, but I think your style army is even better in control.
Because last minute it can just get wherever it has to go.
That's right.
So he did that. He killed that unit. I killed the captain, and then it took me another 2 turns to kill that general off because I just couldn't leave him in my back lines running free.
Yep.
So that was unfortunate. So that Matsubitsu's brutal D3 was useful, not reliable. But I think the Seductress build that people were taking with Gnome Glass Shield and
that would have been smart, yeah.
And what was the other thing they gave her?
Flying Gnome Glass Shield.
And what's the spell? No, the spell that you can give to get more attacks.
Host Shadow Beast?
Host Shadow Beast.
Host Shadow Beast. So you give her Host Shadow Beast, Gnome Glass Shield, and let her fly around.
That'd be pretty good. I didn't know she could take Host Shadow Beast.
Yes. So that's a better build than the special character because Alex and Steve were using that build. And I was like,
oh, good thing we did some practice games with this list for you then.
Yeah, it was something that you surely did not paint all at once. And you know what would have helped you on that one roll? Baron of Dice. One day they're going to be sponsoring us and they'll remember this.
Oh my God.
I can assure you,
plug for free. Yeah.
5 dice on 3s and 4s. I wish I had Baron of Dice on my side.
Damn right. Hurry up and sponsor us, Baron of Dice. Anyway, so
even with all that, I ended up taking his center and the 2 sides, and he took my center and the 2 sides. So it was a 4-4 draw. 11-9 in my favor. So both of my draws were 11-9s.
So you finished what? 3
wins and 2 draws.
Nice.
And
how did you actually finish?
Yes.
I finished 2nd in battle, but apparently the Northeast doesn't count battle because we're overall, and I finished 3rd overall.
That's still pretty good.
Boo.
Still pretty good.
And
yes, the Northeast would like to point out combined scoring.
I had the toughest strength of schedule by a fair bit.
Good.
Because everyone I played finished top 3rd.
Nice.
That's
a good day.
Yeah, and I got to play 3 people who I've never played before.
That's always fun too.
So I had a great weekend. I had a blast. It was a tough room, and I got to represent the Mid-Atlantic Irregulars.
Oh, switching teams again already, I see.
So what happened was at Crossroads, I wasn't able to play for the Aristocrats. I wasn't good enough. I got kicked off their team. So at final game, I had played Ed, and Ed was like, "Come join our side for for Nerdhammer." And he's like, "If you help us win the cup, we'll put your name on the cup."
Well, I mean,
all right.
At that point,
so
you did your part about that.
I did my part. I was number 2 and top Mid-Atlantic irregular, so it's going to be MA irregular and Ray.
So wait, you won the cup then?
You guys won? Nice.
Hey. So you're gonna claim victory on that cup, and really it's yours.
Claim the cup and bring it to Canada. You were the top ranking one. I should go home with you.
But
no, customs wouldn't let it happen.
I'm just happy with the fact that I got to prove that, as people said, wow, Ray does know how to play. So,
well, at least outside of the Northeast, let's not go.
Well, people noticed that I was able to play the game, and I thought about it and said, wow, if I had practice with this army, even a couple of games, I would have known where I was doing better.
You've played a total of 6 games. You're technically
undefeated.
4-2.
Yeah.
But we're saying that this thing is not broken. Like, come on. At this point, so I got some questions for you.
Sure.
You were talking about Bael, and because we had talked about this and texting back and forth, and I said a giant flyer will always make, doesn't matter how many speed 10 units you put on the on the battlefield, you put down Scud or something like that, everybody goes, but I need to kill that.
Yeah.
So
the issue with Bael is twofold. One, only crushing 2.
Yeah. So
it's not a crushing 3 or crush 2 thunderous 1 monster. No vicious, no. And the second issue is 7 attacks. And John can say what Bael is really a beefed up general for Kingdom.
He's just a general, yeah.
Which they contribute. They are scary. They do cause unnecessarily large amounts of terror when you get them across someone's line and turn them around again. But for your list, it was more just so you had a speed 10 to stand off against other speed 10, so they couldn't just bully all your units all the time.
Yeah. And as John was saying, with the lightning bolt too, it's
the lightning bolt helps you clear some of the shit chaff, like stupid tidal swarms and stuff that people bring.
Tidal swarms are fantastic. I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop it. Shut it.
And what I found is I never actually had all of my shooting concentrated. My army wants to play the entire board. So that was part of the problem. Is I was quite happy to have a horde in the middle, a horde on either flank, regiments on either flank, and say, like, let's see how you set up, and then let me find the angles.
Yeah.
So was there anything else? Let's take Bael out of the equation here. Was there anything else in the army that you would? We were just talking about the putting the spell on the
change the dust. Wow, change drop motif. You know what? Whatever. Move on. Yep, move on.
But since when are you bad in English? Like,
it's been a long time.
I know.
Yep.
I think I'm going to take the new Seductress build for Dead of Winter because I like that. Yeah, it sounds great. With here, I can go and she helps a lot for pushing.
The Shadow Beast will help a lot to ground stuff too. So
yeah.
And if the flyers don't deal with her, then they will have an issue.
Yeah, because she can just pick them off from the side and ground them and make everybody sit down. So
and this is a fantastic piece that just got better.
Well, actually, she didn't. She always had that ability.
She always good.
No one took her, and everyone was worried about the Cronius and the Fiends, which are great.
Yeah, they're good, but
I don't know if I'm going to take the lower Abyssals in Dead of Winter. So what I'm looking at for Dead of Winter is I'm dropping the formation because I never knew how to use the chariots.
You just keep them near one of the other ones to buff up the regen for it, and the lower abyssals for the Well, all right. Anyways, what are you planning to bring? And then we'll.
So I'm dropping the formation, which will hurt losing the TC1 on the regiments. So I'm not 100% keen on it, but if I drop the formation, I can change the 2 lower abyssals to being succubi.
Right.
With Pathfinder, because I found that I only had 1 piece that could go through terrain, and even in the sparse Mid-Atlantic terrain set, I still had issues with that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add 2 troops of Abyssal Guard to give the Rally 2 to the Succubi.
The Succubi, yeah.
So that they're 16, 18 as they're running through the terrain. And then the other change is I'm probably going to drop Baal for a
Cronius?
A regiment of horsemen with Blood of the Old King.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with we said it on the review, like the horsemen are fantastic and they're not going to be taken.
So it'll be 2 hordes, the horsemen with Blood of the Old King. I might do Drunken Ram and Strength on the 2 hordes.
Important to note is that for Dead of Winter, you can only bring 2 of something.
Yeah, it's the rule of 2.
Yeah. Is that why you're taking the horseman instead of a 3rd berserker? Yeah, I think we should clarify that. Yeah.
So I can only take 2 hordes berserkers, so I'm going to do that with Helm and with Strength. I'm going to take the horsemen with Blood of the Old King, and those are going to be my main hammers. The 2 regiments, the 2 regiments of Succubi, the 2 troops. I'm still taking 2 warlocks with Bane Chant because that was money.
Bane Chant will help that list a lot. Yeah.
The Seductress, because she's going to be awesome flying around with Gnome Glass Shield. Yep. In the game against the Free Dwarfs, she got sat down by the throwing dogs.
Ooh,
understandable.
Because
they don't care.
They don't care, and they did 2 or 3 wounds and then wavered her, so she wasn't able to go head hunting. And she got fireballed when she played against a different list. So I'm like, against the Basilians. So I'm like, okay, Gnome Glass Shield is actually important to deal with all those issues.
Yeah, that actually seems like a really smart build for her. So.
So I think that's how this list is going to evolve. I also have to drop 150 points, which is the other reason why Baal is being dropped.
That makes sense.
So I will have issues with flyers, and I'm probably going to have to use the Succubi to actually deal with the flyers.
Yeah, you can use them as chaff and cover your fronts and make them charge ensnaring Succubi.
Because 16, 18 Succubi are not to be underestimated.
Not by any of the flyers.
Yep. I'm not going to get into that. They're fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic.
Well, especially when they have Wild Charge D3, right, Ben?
Shut up.
Have that.
So that's the change. That's my army list for Dead of Winter. I only have to paint the horsemen. So I'm going to take some of my Bretonnian horsemen probably that I haven't painted.
I've got a couple of questions for you. So obviously the Berserkers were fantastic. The regen was great. Or was it just kind of useful? You were saying you were having a little bit of positioning problems for the 4+ on the regen and that sort of thing.
I actually began using the chariots as the battery source for the Betrayer, because I knew that the chariots would always regen on 4+, and I was like, screw you, chariots. And then
I never thought about
that works. Yeah.
Whenever the Betrayer does the wounds, and then you just regen them back. That's fucking amazing. That's what
you didn't think of that.
It didn't enter my mind. It really didn't enter my mind.
Because
that's the move.
I used to do it on the lower abyssals next to them, and then hope that they were in range of the chariots. But then if they moved out, it was like So I was like, chariots will always get the regen 4+. Sucks to be you, chariots.
There you go.
I did often use that Betrayer thing, always for Bane Chant. I would always go Bane Chant 5.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea because it's a guarantee.
Sometimes I even suck the life out of the Abyssal Berserkers who were in combat.
Sure. They regen as well, right? So yeah, worth it.
So the regen was useful, but I never planned on it. I guess the best way to put it is in my game against Ryan, he had heal 20, he had Iron Resolve, and I had regen, and none of those rules were ever actually used in the entire game because everything was just dead.
Oh, just dead. Yeah.
So when you had the 2 Alpha Strike lists going at each other, like whatever hit died.
Yeah.
When I played against Chet, it was the same thing. Like the regen didn't matter. It was
Dead is dead.
Angels and demons, it should happen that way.
Yeah, when it was angels and demons or flyers and demons, stuff was dead. Against the Twilight Kin, mostly dead. Like most of the time, people are putting enough wounds that when they want to kill something, unless there's a bad roll, things are dead.
Yep.
But that's what having that there is for, is that when it happens, you have that additional thing.
But then there's the whole command dice where you can just throw 4 command dice to reroll.
I was about to ask you about the command dice thing. How did you like them? What did you find with them?
I found that most people did not take extra command dice. There were only 2 games from my opponent. 2 of the 5 games from my opponent took extra dice. They added at least 5 minutes to the game, if not longer, as people were trying to work through the optimal use of them. In general, I'd roll the dice and always plan for 1 for a reroll to Bane Chant and 1 for a reroll to Wound on some combat. And that does change the math on each of your combats in theory until your Seductress sucks, and not in a good way.
So she is a seductress.
So she took advantage of me. But, if you plan that, like I'm just rolling this, I'm knowing where my 2 dice are going and I don't have to think about it. It was fine. But they didn't add anything to the game, if that makes sense. Like they didn't make the game more enjoyable. They added a layer of complication and complexity. And there was a survey done of the people who played.
I heard about
34 people responded. 21 said no. 5 said they didn't care, and 6 said they would like to see command dice.
Yeah, pretty underwhelming response to command dice, it sounds like.
But it does change the math, because when you're able to re-roll a hit or to wound, changing the math by even 1 point has an impact. Celestial Restoration was the most abused spell I saw in the entire tournament. I saw it used in at least 3 of the games I played, where people were like, haha, here's my Celestial Restoration person at the back lines, and I'm going to use my reroll to hit on that. So I think it's.
So I should add one of those to my list.
Yes.
No, please God, no.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Yeah.
With the command dice, you can go, haha, here's 2 dice or 3 dice, and then reroll 1. And because it's not officially blast.
Yeah. I feel like they will address that.
Well, let's hope that they do, because we did talk about it in the in the Salt Fest. That was the command dice thing that I did with Nathan and Justin, and the pair of them were very vocal about that sort of thing, partially to get it out there and to make sure that it is addressed, and partially to say, hey, abuse the living shit out of this while you got a chance.
The formation, I used the regeneration one. I never used the flame one. I could have used the flame one. I just didn't think about it. And that's what I'm saying. It adds at least 5 minutes. And if I was thinking about my command dice, it probably would add more. Undead used the not shambling special ability, which was evil, and the drain life one. So the undead ones were used against me. The dwarf ones were used against me. And Twilight Kin may have been used against me with Dread. Kingdom's Mended Order of March was useful for their cav to get them up and out for the first turn, but not super useful beyond that. So all of them were probably used a couple times by the various factions. But like I said, you're adding minutes, you're adding time on the clock, and you're adding complexity. And I think
I've only sorry, I've got one question.
I think Kings of War works best when it doesn't have that extra layer of unnecessary complexity.
Yeah, simple as rule set for a reason. But so did it ever come up where somebody tried to use one of the abilities that needed to be done at the beginning of the turn? Was that called out as far as you know, or were people just like, yeah, do it whenever?
It was a large case of, as long as you were doing it before you rolled dice, no one cared. Right. And actually, the biggest thing was reminding people that they had to roll the command dice. Because people, including me, like I do all my moves, and they're like, "Oh, you have to roll command dice." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I should roll the command dice." So
I was finding I found that on the few games that 5-6 games I've played with command dice up to this point in time, that's the hardest thing to remember is the beginning of the turn. here we go.
Roll your dice.
Yeah.
So that was the big thing. Not very few people remembered to roll the dice religiously at the start of the turn. Not everyone had a set of command dice, and no one was super keen. So as a result, my tournament will not have command dice. Chet's tournament, loaded dice, will not have command dice, and Vanguard will not have command dice. So the Mid-Atlantic has kind of spoken where for the foreseeable future, the Mid-Atlantic is not using command dice.
All right.
Okay.
Because it's an optional rule.
Yep, it is optional.
It is an optional rule.
I have a question about your list.
Yep.
How was the sacrificial imp?
That's what I was going to ask.
So the one game where I could have made great use of it against the Free Dwarfs, I positioned myself so that if he wanted to use his throwing dogs, he could hit 2 of my units at a time. And I didn't throw out my sacrificial imps for that. And he threw them, and then I charged in. So I didn't really use them. I could have charged.
You didn't use the free upgrade, the 5-point upgrade that gave you defense 6 specifically for that reason, to eat that round of shooting?
Yeah. I ate that round of shooting because I figured if he didn't do it then I could charge in and then pop the imps. And like he had a whole bunch in the second line and everything else that it was a calculated risk.
All right, fair enough.
Coupled with the fact that the army has regen. So
did you use it in any games?
Yes, I did use it.
It doesn't sound very convincing.
Like I used it when I was like, oh, I got hit by the Phoenix in game 1 and it did whatever 5 wounds to me or 4 wounds. And I'm like, I don't want to get hit again. Like, here's the sacrificial imp. So, but I never played a hard shooting army.
Okay.
So I never played the army where I'm like, I need to use the sacrificial imps to get me across the field.
Fair enough.
That being said, I'm still keeping them in my list for Dead of Winter because the shooting meta in the Northeast.
Oh, there's a lot more up here, yeah.
Oh, yes. Including maybe possibly somebody's list on this podcast.
Ben's. It's Ben's.
For now. I'm going back. The fish are coming back out. But very soon.
With
not
shooting?
This weekend. No, fish aren't going to be shooting. They're not a shooting army. Don't get into this again. No, I'm playing Twilight right now. Right?
Yeah.
And I'll be playing them this weekend at Christmas Carnage.
That's this weekend.
That is this weekend. Is the weekend of December the 14th. It is the last tournament for up here in the Hamilton, Mississauga, Toronto area, I believe.
Where's it taking place?
It's at Black Knight.
Can people still show up?
Yeah, of course. Anyone can come. It's open to all. No list submission required.
Nope.
Just show up with a legal list built from Companion. If I look at it and it looks weird or janky,
we will
take your units away.
I don't know if you noticed, but we can
2150. So it's kind of like a primer for Dead of Winter. You don't have to follow the rule of 2, but it is 2150. And there are command dice in effect because Dead of Winter is playing with command dice. And selfishly, I have played no games with command dice, so I'd like to at least get a couple practice in before I go play them in a larger 2-day tournament. So
overrated.
I mean, I haven't even tried them yet, so I don't really have an opinion on them. But I figured I should get a warm up in before I go play in.
I'm a little worried about you and command dice there, John. I really kind of am.
Well, they are subpar abilities for the factions I was thinking of running. The Kingdoms of Men one is very underwhelming. The Elf one has certain applications, but not really for the list style I would play. So I'm looking. I got my Kingdoms of Anything elves that can proxy for a number of different factions. I heard the Northern Alliance commands are really good. So
don't get Mike is loving it.
So maybe
Night Stalker.
They don't translate to Night Stalker very well because they got a lot of like flying hordes, which Night Stalkers don't have. But maybe Night Stalkers.
You are, as you always seem to be, and you've played with Command Dice and Firefight and have raked me over the coals.
Listen, I've played with them in Firefight, but Firefight also, if you actually read the rules, you don't have to have line of sight to charge. Because everybody's got a wrist GPS. So they're like, oh, yeah, those jackasses are behind that building. Let's go around and get them.
Yeah. We've figured this out.
Firefight's not really comparable.
You still abuse the living shit out of, like, you'll
Oh,
get
yeah,
about
big
2
time.
games in,
Big time.
and you're gonna abuse the crap out of these things. Like you honestly are. I'm already starting to get some decent use out of what I've been doing with them. And
Oh well, if you're already there, I'll catch up in no time.
oh fuck yeah, it's not. It really is not gonna take much. Like all hats off to him, and I'm not kidding. LaHaye is absolutely loving the frost thing that we talked about on the dice review. We actually did go into a pretty deep dive onto the Northern Alliance, because their dice are the orders they have are actually really good, and Mike has found a buttload of ways of making them work and work well. And I don't know why the hell they gave them the things that they did, because it made that army stupidly good.
Oh, you mean the instant frozen to trigger your life leech on your ice naiads, right?
Yeah.
Just why? I mean,
on, let's say, an individual that flies around and may or may not be able to get absolutely anywhere, wherever the fuck he wants.
And have Tundra Fighter, right? So it gets vicious off frozen units, so you can just tag a unit as vicious, and then maybe I will just play as Northern Alliance this time.
I hate you.
Sounds like a good time.
I hate, and the regen, like the regen that they get is just stupid. It is just stupid.
Oh, because theirs is a regen buff too. Is their other one, right?
Yeah, they get regen 5, and a regen 5 and a Chimera is kind of a kick in the dick. So yes, Mike, I'm giving away all your secrets.
You just have to kill it.
Yeah.
Well, Ray, your dad's been kicking my ass. Well, actually, he lost in the last game, and we barely tied in the other one because I didn't want the old man to feel bad.
Yeah, but he won the tournament, so
he did win the tournament. He did win the tournament by 2 points, and
2 points is a win.
Yep, and Langtree came second, and Langtree's not here this weekend, so there's a good chance I'm going back up to the top, baby, on the overall.
Unless we keep you down to like 3 points total for the tournament, which is possible.
It is
There's
possible.
no paint score, so if Ben gets tabled every single game,
which is possible,
like he stays in second.
I'm not playing Abyssal Dwarves, which are the worst faction I've ever played in tournaments. I am a total of 1-10-1 with Abyssal Dwarves.
I challenge you to play them this weekend. Then
I am not playing them this weekend. No, I am still pulling out the Twilightkin, practicing for Dead of Winter, but we'll see if it ends up being them or Fish for Dead of Winter. But I haven't terrorized enough people around here with Twilightkin yet. So this is kind of your fault, John. So
most things are, so that I'm fine with that.
Well, I think with that, we've talked about that. We've still got one more thing to talk about.
Oh, two more. John's tournament.
What tournament?
I thought we had 2 tournaments to talk about. Oh, yes.
Well, that was my tournament. My tournament is the one coming up because I haven't done anything Kings of War related in like a month and a half now because things happen and that's how it goes sometimes.
Absolutely.
There you go. So Christmas Carnage.
Notice, I guess I'll end off with a plug for the tournament that is far in the future, March 1st, 2nd, March of Death. First day, 2,500 points. Second day, 1995. It's going to be at the Brantford Best Western Hotel and Conference Center. I think it's the first time we've done a tournament in a hotel in Ontario.
It will be around here.
Correct.
So, yay. It's $80 if you sign up before January 31st, $90 if you sign up thereafter. Details are on the website. Players pack and registration is now live. So we actually have.
Where might we be able to find that?
It will be up on Facebook. It has its own Facebook page, and there will be links both down below here, because I'm going to put some notes in the description.
Show notes? Is this our first show
God.
notes?
Whoa, wait a minute. Almost like editing. Wait.
No. Show notes in the description.
Not editing. That's
not editing. No. Yeah, just show notes. And on the various website pages for Kings of War Ontario, Kings of War Canada.
Right.
So the plan is if anyone shows up, the idea is you don't have to leave the hotel, because we want to do like hangouts, time to like get together, chill out, all those details that we get to go when we go see Crossroads. So you show up to the hotel Friday night or Saturday, breakfast is included, lunch is included, dinner's included, breakfast and lunch on Sunday, then you leave. I've driven to enough tournaments, Nerdhammer, for example, where once you arrive, you don't really want to drive for the next 48 hours. In my case, because I'm probably drinking a few drinks.
Because
in your case, because you've probably driven a couple hours. So I'm setting this tournament up, taking into account all the things that I've learned from going to all the tournaments before to make it the best possible experience for those going ahead. We are going to have the helm for the King of the North. Whoever wins March of Death will have a proper metal helmet as their first place trophy.
Wait, do I have to make this?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
good.
Can you?
Yes, I actually can.
So then next year's?
No, you don't want to see it.
Okay.
But
You
I
might
can.
make a buckler
Moving
for
on,
like last. I might ask Ben to make a buckler for last place, but
Ooh. Maybe I'll make a wooden spoon out of a bigger spoon.
or a metal wooden spoon, just to like continue with the metal feel.
Actually, yes, I can do
There you
that.
go.
But we will have a helm. It will be a classical like Crusader great helm, and that
Excellent.
will be your first place award for whoever wins.
Excellent. I love it.
Well, we're probably going to add things in. We'll see what happens along the way. We'll add in updates as we go. But this is your first invitation, people. We've been down to see all of you. Please come up. The Joe Bagazis, the Nerdhammer guys, the
dojo who wanted to have a place to be drunk for a weekend.
We're out of the game store. We're into a hotel.
Please come up. I will drink for that weekend just to get a couple of shots.
Stop.
No. John will drink on your behalf.
I will, yes, because I am not running this tournament, so I will do that. Yes.
Well, with that and with the invitations put out, and we're not kidding, all of our friends, all the people that we've met from anywhere, we'd love to have you all come up. Again, it's in March. Look for it, please. But until then, we're Nerf Check, and we still don't have an outro. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.